Good morning on this Monday morning. I hope everyone rested well. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. We should be up and at it, getting started. Just be blessed and be a blessing. You know, Bishop yesterday actually talked on something that I was going to talk on today. So I'm going to try to see if I can incorporate both of these together. He came out of Exodus 15:22 through 27, the waters of Mara and Elam, and he talked about life. You know, he said life has bookends, a beginning and an end. Life is tough, difficult, and most definitely impossible without God. You know, God does give us free will to make our own choices. But are those choices the right choices? You know, the enemy can take over as curiosity. You know, we try to outthink or outsmart life. You know, if it kills somebody else and it won't kill me, then we think that we are fine with it. You know, just because you're saved, don't think that you won't have trials and tribulations. You know, we discover that everybody may not like you, may not like us. And then you're like, oh my, really? Who knew? God knows. You know, it's easy to fight against the devil because you have God. But when you are fighting against God, do you not realize that you are on your own? There's nobody back there helping you or anything. Life is a mixture of the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, you've got to ask God for wisdom when you have problems. You know, the more difficulty that comes against you, this has been designed for you to grow in it. Struggles develop you. You know, let's look at water. Water is odorless, colorless, and tasteless. But when you get that foreign object into that water, you get some impurities in the water, you know, it's going to turn it. When you add stuff to water, you can see what happens. It becomes bitter. That's what happens to us when we get contaminated. That bitter place makes us forget what God has truly done for us. Don't let your yesterday cancel out what God has already did for you. What we think we see, we let it dictate to us about life, and it cancels out our faith. God is able. He's already mapped out our course. God meets and knows our needs. Even though Mara, which means bitter, you know, your Mara may have you question your own judgment. But just know God can get you to Elam, which is the peaceful place. You know, God brings deliverance. And that was so profound to me. Bishop was actually talking about the bitter place and how they went from being bitter, from one place being in Mara, to Elam, bringing about a place of peace. And you know, I had already said that's what I was going to talk about this morning, bitter. You know, suffering is a form. Bitterness suffering can make you better or bitter. The actual dictionary definition of bitter is of people or their feelings or behavior. You know, they're angry, hurt, or resentful because of one's bad experiences or a sense of unjust treatment. Synonyms for bitter is resentful, dissatisfied, and disgruntled. Someone who is unhappy because they can't forget bad things that happened to them in the past. Bitter people blame others for their problems. When life doesn't turn out like a person expects it to, they happen to blame others. John 11:1-44. I'm going to paraphrase this. You know, Lazarus died. Mary and Martha wanted to blame Jesus because they felt like Jesus didn't show up in the nick of time to save their brother. Jesus already knows what is going on, y'all. He's there. He knows it. He is the beginning, the end. He is the author and the finisher. He is the head. He knows. So just because he didn't show up at the allotted time that they thought he should have, they got distraught. They got upset. They got mad. You know, Jesus had to show them that he's in charge and he's over everything. You know, that's what happens to us. You know, they wanted to be salty and bitter with Jesus because they felt like he didn't show up when he needed to. He didn't come when he needed to. Jesus still loved them in spite of and had to show them that he is the head man. He's got everything under control. Being stuck in your own understanding, you're actually missing out on your own blessings. You know, you can truly believe that God can come in and transform. Like I'm always saying, your mind and your thoughts have us trapped at times. Ephesians 4:23 says, to be made new in the attitude of your minds. Happy thoughts. Any bad thoughts need to be dealt with and dispelled. In that same chapter, in verse 26, it says, in anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. And that's what we do a lot of times. Instead of trying to fix situations, we get mad, let it fester. Then what? You know, like my grandma used to say, you know, we sweep things under the rug. And, you know, we don't want to deal with them. And, you know, that's when bitterness sets in. 31 and 32 of that same chapter says, get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as in Christ God forgave you. You know, this brings me back to something. A few weeks ago, I came across a family member. I have not physically spoken to this family member in years. Not just a few years, multiple years. You know, I don't know where the breakdown started, but it was there. You know, I would see this individual, I would speak, actually maybe a half a feet to maybe even not that far apart from this individual. I know this individual heard me speaking, but yet they did not open their mouths to say anything. Or if we were so far apart that we could physically see each other but not physically speak, and we would literally wave at one another, or I would say I would wave. This particular family member would not. They would turn around and keep walking as though they did not see me. You know, I never stopped doing what I was supposed to do. I never did stop speaking, trying to be friendly, trying to let bygones be bygones. You know, I was still trying to do what I was doing. Needless to say, we actually physically spoke to one another. We were actually talking to one another. We actually hugged one another. Now, to some of you, you may not say, why is she even talking about this? Why do we even care about this? But to me, that speaks volume. Not only within my own self, but within this same family member. You know, and I was literally happy. We were sitting here having a conversation, even speaking. We were in sync with one another. We were even answering this and giving the same answers at the same time. We were even laughing at the same time. So for me, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes not only myself to let me know that, hey, regardless, in spite of, I can let it go. That speaks volume within this family member saying that, hey, she has put all this animosity beside her, and yet we have come together. And like I said, we have not physically spoken in years. Like I said, I don't know where the breakdown came about. Like I said, but I just said continually kept saying, you know, hey, I'm not going to act the way, you know, this particular person is acting. I'm still going to do what I'm supposed to do, speak. You know, if we're there and we're having a conversation, I'm not going to just turn my back on you and not talk just because you might be in the physical space that I'm in. Because, you know, in your heart, forgiveness needs to take place before anything can transpire and transform. You know, we need to release some stuff and stop holding on to stuff. What are you holding on to stuff for? Are you just stubborn or what? You know, staying truly in God's word will have you so calm and so at peace. You know, whatever life throws at you, you can rest assured that Hebrews 11:1 can get you through. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And that's what you have to stand on. You know, when things on the outside has gotten into us, that's when we start to get contaminated. And that goes back to what Bishop was saying before, that moral water, that bitterness. Whenever you contaminate something, it gets bitter. Contamination, bitterness will contaminate your judgment. It will have you looking sideways and questioning your very existence. It will have you severing relationships, friendships, because of your cloudy judgment. How are you talking? What does your tongue say? What does it tell us in Luke 6:45? A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. What is your heart full of? When you speak, what are you saying? Are you offering words of encouragement, compassion, and love? Are you spewing out bitterness, hate, and strife? Take a check into what your heart is harboring. You know, you will even walk away from blessings and the people who can bless you. Sometimes you walk away too soon because you're stuck in your own mindset, that bitterness and that contamination. Let's communicate more, forgive more, love more, like Christ has commanded us to do. And like it says in 1 John 4:12, no one has ever seen God. But if we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete in us. So we need to stand on that. We've never seen God, but we know he's there. We've never talked to God physically, but we know that he loves us, and he's there. All we have to do is talk to him. So if we have the love of God in us, why can we not love others? Like I said, that was so profound to me when Bishop came and wanted to talk what I wanted to talk about. You know, that is amazing. He came out of Exodus 15:22 and 27, talking about the waters of Marah and Elam, going from bitterness to peace. And I'll tell you, it's nothing better than having a peace of mind. When you can go to sleep at night and be just as restful and peaceful and don't let the cares of the world bother you. When you can get up in the morning feeling the same way, I'm telling you, that's nobody but God. Because you have already laid your problems, your difficulties at his feet to let him know that you cannot do this by yourself. Just like Bishop says, life is hard. Life is tough. Life is difficult. And it is most definitely impossible without God. And I'm here to tell you, without God in your life, you're not going to have any peace. You're not going to be peaceful. You're going to let the cares of the world get to you. You're going to let what people say and do to you get to you. But I am just here to say, just pull out that word, get that word in you, meditate on it, chew it up, swallow it, and plant it into your heart, and just know that with God, anything is possible. So let's not go tomorrow. Let's go to Elam. Let's go to that place of peace. So I'm just here to say, everyone truly be blessed. Everyone be a blessing on today. Not only just be blessed yourself, but be a blessing to someone else. And everybody else, I am always coming through, continually saying, truly, continually allow that light to shine. Everyone be blessed and have a wonderful, wonderful day on today.